Hey, what's going on out there? Sean Devine. Today I've got a quick new tutorial for you all. This is on background vocals, and it's how to take a mono track and turn it into something stereo. So I've got a session that I mixed a while ago for artist Moses Stone. Make sure and check him out. The song is called Perform for Me. So let me just play back. This is the mix with the background vocals panned wide and in pairs. We've got 4 total background vocals, and one is pan left, the other is right, and they're paired that way to give it that wide stereo effect. So let me just play that back for you.
Break you down for all you earn. I don't care what your friends think about me, just as long as you tell them that you're leaving with me. We gon' do whatever you like, make you feel special, even if it's just for one night. Tell them that I got you. Tell me what I gotta do to get you back home. All I really want to is.
All right, so you get the idea. You get that really wide background vocal. And so what I want to show you today is a lot of times when I get sessions and the way that certain artists record, you may not be lucky enough to get, 4 of the same background layer. You may just get one. So you got to figure out, how do I make that one single mono track wide and kind of surrounding the vocal the way that a background vocal should. Let me select these and let's just take the panning and we'll just go to dead center on all of these so that we're monoed out. And now we will bounce these. Okay.
Break you down for all you think about me. Break you down for all you earn. I don't care what your friends think about me, just as long as you tell them that you're leaving with me. We gon' do whatever you like, make you feel special, even if it's just for one night. Tell them that I got you. Tell me what.
Okay, so now we've got that single mono background vocal, and we've got it going to the channel. If you're curious about what I'm using just to process it, you can take a look here. It's just the usual stuff. We've got a noise gate, R compressor, SSL channel, just using the EQ on that, the de-esser. We've got a little bit of reverb and delay. I'm going to take those off. Let me just move my EQ up here. I'm going to take the delay and the reverb off just so that we can really get the proper perspective of what's going to be widening this, because those do have a widening effect as well. But if I just play that back.
Think about me. You're leaving with me. You like special. Tell them that I got you.
So the last thing in the channel is what I'm going to show you today of how we're going to spread them. There's a couple of different plugins that I reached to take this mono track and kind of widen things out. So just pretending this was a single layer. Obviously, since it was recorded with a couple of harmonies and things, that's why I bounced them all as one. But let's just say that, let's try the manipulator. This is a Vocoder plugin that I discovered for production actually recently, but it has this stereo effect, and I've just been using it in mixing because it does have this spreading effect even for mono tracks. So if I just kind of spread things out like this, I'm going to turn it down because it does make things quite a bit more noticeable.
Think about me. You're leaving with me.
So without it, and with, and then with the song.
Break you down for all you earn. I don't care what your friends think about me, just as long as you tell them that you're leaving with me. We gon' do whatever you like, make you feel special, even if it's just for one night. Tell them that I got you. Tell me what I gotta do.
Sounds pretty cool. It's got a very unique kind of sound to it. And now let's check out some other ones. I've been using Matthew Lane. He's just a genius in terms of stereo mid-side processing stuff. His plugins, Dr. MS and Stereo Delta, both of them can be used for this. Let's do Dr. MS first. There's a preset in here if you're not wanting to mess with this. I know it can be a little daunting, the interface at first, but if you just want to start off go to the mono to stereo preset, and then you only really need to worry about this focus knob, because this would be, no spread, and then as you go up, it's going to make it wider in terms of transferring it or translating it to a stereo track. So let's widen it a little bit, and let's solo it again so I can show you what this does.
Think about me.
That's without it. With
Think about me.
let's hear that with the music.
For all you earn, I don't care what your friends think about me. Just as long as you tell them that you're leaving with me. We gon' do whatever you like, make you feel special, even if it's just.
So that really helps them pop as well. It's similar to what the manipulator was doing. Now let's try the other Matthew Lane one, which is Stereo Delta. This is a more subtle effect, but it's still really cool. It has a different kind of sound to it. So solo it, and this is without. So we'll move it all the way over.
Your friends think about me, just as long as you tell them that you're leaving with me. We gon' do whatever you like, make you feel special, even if it's just for one night. Tell them that I got you.
So that one's very subtle. The reason being that it definitely is mono compatible. The other ones are too, but this one is going to translate really well when you switch to mono. It's not spreading things out so wide that you could run into phasing issues. So that one's really cool. The other ones that I had to show you were, let's say that we could just use a sample delay. Now this one is not as safe in terms of mono compatibility, but I at least want to show it to you. All you need to do is just delay one of the channels left or right just slightly. So let's just solo it and mono. So you've got on headphones, it's like, woo, bam, it widens it quite a bit. Only problem with this is when you switch to mono, a lot of times it will, or it could introduce some phasing issues, and it can make the volume be quite a bit different in terms of mono when you do this.
Think about me, just as long as you tell them that you're leaving with me. We gon' do whatever you like, make you feel special, even if it's just for one night. Tell them that I got you. Tell me what.
So still pretty cool as long as you're in stereo. That one won't pose a problem, and it usually doesn't, even with mono compatibility either. I do use the sample delay, specifically with this example, since we're using 4 layers. It's not really a single layer vocal there. It could introduce some problems, but if you're just dealing with, just a single track recording, it's usually safe to use the sample delay. Just be really careful. You don't want to go in and delay it, really a ton, or else you could run into problems. And also just kind of listening to what it's doing at the lower numbers can make a big difference as well to make sure that it's going to translate. So the last one I want to show you, this one's a little more extreme, but if you needed to do it, you could. And all you would have to do is just duplicate this channel and then just drag a copy of it. And the first thing that I would do is just EQ it a little bit differently, because obviously if you've got duplicate tracks and signal information on top of each other, it usually produces pretty unpleasant results. We're going to get rid of the low and the mid. And then again, we need to differentiate it even more than that. So I'm going to pull up Auto-Tune. So I finally got Auto-Tune 8. I upgraded. So you all can quit being curious about why I was using Evo. It's because I just hadn't upgraded. But anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to change the formant for this one just to make it a little different. So I've selected formant over here. Let's change the throat length. It's going to be subtle. So it doesn't sound the best, but it's going to work for our purposes. So now we have 2 slightly different takes. And again, we've got 4 background vocals that are stacked for these bounces. So it's going to sound a little bit crazy, but you're going to get the idea. So we'll take that one and we'll pan that one. And then we'll pan this one wide, and we should get a pretty cool spread. Let's adjust the format just a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll put a sample delay on this one, and we'll just do a slight delay on here. See what that does.
You down for all you earn. I don't care what your friends think about me. Just as long as you tell them that you're leaving with me. We gon' do whatever you like, make you feel special. Tell them that I got you. Tell me what I gotta do.
So a little different effect. Again, just something to kind of get the wheels turning, get you all feeling creative about all the different things that you can do to take your mono tracks and turn them into something wide and have a nice stereo spread to add to your lead vocal. So anyways, I hope this helps y'all. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you learned anything in this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.